Hello, everyone. American Sports 365. Here with me once again is my colleague Alex. So, the Heat were in Milwaukee for the first two games of their first round series against the Bucks. The Heat split those two games 1-1. The Heat won game one, 130 to 117. Then the Bucks won game two, 138 to 122. So the Heat managed to get one on the road despite being heavy underdogs coming into this series, which really not surprising. The fact that they're the 8th seed going up against the number 1 seed in the conference. So before we dive into deeper, what are your thoughts on these first two games of the series?
Well, if you had told me that after the first two games it would be 1-1, I probably would have taken that. Obviously, very happy we were able to win game one. So that was largely because Giannis got hurt in the first quarter and came out. However, it was pretty disappointing to see Hero break his hand. And our game two performance as a whole was quite disappointing, to be honest. So the Bucks did, shoot like totally unsustainable 55% from three or something like that.
51%. But I mean, game one was definitely a good performance, and I think the Bucks were a bit shaken up by Giannis's injury. Game two was overall not very good at all. It was a 16-point loss, but it's not nearly that close for a lot of it, to be honest. Definitely two quite different games, and especially disappointing game two, given the fact that Giannis did not play at all. So going back to game one for now, Jimmy Butler was one of the biggest reasons why the Heat won game one. He had 35 points on 15.7 shooting and 11 assists as well. So he really excelled in game one, and was really one of the driving forces behind the Heat's victory in game one. What do you think of Jimmy's performance in game one against the Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, he was excellent, as you would expect. Seems like he always steps up his game in the playoffs. He certainly did in game one, and he was still pretty good in game two as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy has a reputation for playing better in the playoffs, as all great players do. Really, most great players do, at least. Um, and it's been a bit of a difficult regular season for him, or it was, I should say. Not in terms of his performances, because he'll always still play really well, but in terms of his injuries. He had several injuries in the regular season, unfortunately. But he played really well in game one, and played really well in game two. And of course, he need to keep that up in order for the Heat to have a chance at pulling off the upset. So another reason why the Heat won game one was 3-point shooting. Kind of came back on them in game two, but in game one, the Heat, they're shooting 60% from three. It's also unsustainable, of course, but there were multiple players that shot well from three. Caleb Martin went 2 of 3 from three. Kevin Love went 4 out of 7 from three. And Gabe Vincent went 4 out of 5 from three. So there were multiple players that made their threes against the Bucks in game one, and that 3-point shooting was obviously huge for the Heat's game one win. What do you think of the Heat's 3-point shooting in game one?
Yeah, we had multiple players who were well from three. That was a huge factor in us winning the game. But as you said, it was totally unsustainable, and the Bucks kind of turned the tables on us as far as 3-point shooting goes in game two.
Yeah, they did, and 60% shooting is from three is unsustainable, of course, and the Bucks shooting in 3-point shooting game 2 was also really unsustainable, to be honest. 51% might not sound that great, but when you look at the actual number of threes that they made, I believe it was a playoff record or something, so not really sustainable either. But yeah, he definitely will have to continue to shoot well from three in order to win this series, especially given how the Bucks play defense, because they use a lot of drop coverage. So there's oftentimes opportunities for threes because they focus so much on protecting the paint and dominate inside. So people have to shoot well from three in order to pull off the upset. But 3-point shooting for Heat in game 1 and the Bucks in game 2 was both unstable, to be honest. But Heat's 3-point shooting game 1 was definitely a major factor in the victory. So, as we said, the Bucks shot very well from three in game 2, 51% overall. Made 25 out of 49 threes. And scored 138 points. That was 75 of their points right there, so more than half. Obviously, it's frustrating to see that, especially since those kind of numbers are really unsustainable. But yeah, obviously it was a massive factor in the Bucks winning game 2 and tying the series. What do you think of the Bucks shooting from three in game 2?
Well, yeah, as we said, it was totally unsustainable and it's a little ridiculous. I mean, at one point, they were shooting over 60% from three. I think their starters shot about 60% from three, and then when the game was over, they put a lot of the bench players in who missed some 3-pointers. But their 3-point shooting was just totally ridiculous in this game.
It's interesting they bring it up because some of their starters did shoot well from three, but Pat Connaughton off the bench was actually one who shot the best from three. Went 6 out of 10 from three in game 2. So it was actually the biggest factor, at least statistically, for the Bucks 3-point shooting. But yeah, it is unsustainable. The Bucks have a number of good shooters, so hopefully they cool off in the next 2 games, and he can still shoot well from three, although don't expect another 60% from three game. So there weren't many positives for the Heat from game 2, obviously, but one positive was that Chris Middleton only had 16 points on 6 of 16 shooting after having a really good game in game 1, and he will definitely have to continue to slow him down in order to pull off the upset, especially if Giannis continues to be unavailable for Milwaukee. So what do you think of Middleton's struggles in game 2?
Yeah, I didn't play very well in game 2. Didn't end up making much of a difference for the Bucks, and frankly, I expect him to play better in game 3. So that's when we can count on him struggling in game 3 to help us win that game.
Yeah, well, one of the things with Middleton, particularly offensively, is that he can be rather inconsistent. We've seen that. We even saw that a couple years ago when the Bucks won the championship, 2021 playoffs. He had some games where he was pretty much unstoppable, and then he had other games where he looked like he was shooting for the first time in NBA, like one of those first times actually taking a bunch of shots. So it's pretty hard to tell what you're gonna see from him in games 3 and 4, maybe, but hopefully he is gold in those games, though, because that will certainly help the Heat win.
Yeah.
So there you have it. series is tied 1 game apiece as it heads back to Miami for games 3 and 4. Heat have obviously played much better at home than they have on the road throughout the entire season. So hopefully the Heat can get back to winning ways at home and shift the momentum in the series back in their favor.
Yep.